Welcome to Expanding Your Search with Brent and Jodibailey. We are growing our circles of connection and knowledge with encouraging conversations and positive communications. Today, Brent and Jodi welcome
the champion of exploited children for Thailand, Burma, and Brazil. She's helped thousands get out of the rings of prostitution. Please welcome Lana Vasquez.
And now, here are your hosts, Brent and Jodibailey.
Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome to Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. It's Brentbailey, and man, I hope you're having a great day. It's the weekend, and man, we made it through another week. I'm hoping that you're having a good day wherever you are. We are here. We got a little bit of a situation today. Jodi has food poisoning, so she's out of the picture today. But, you know, I think I have a solution. So y'all pray for me today, because I'm heading over to the control room right now where I have two guys sitting in there. I'm going to have to put my glasses on so I can see. I've got two guys sitting over there with me today. That's Preston and Peyton, and they are going to be co-hosting with me today. Guys.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's been a while for me.
It has been a while. Turn your mic up. I can't hear you. Not yours, Peyton. You're plenty loud enough.
Hello.
There you go.
It
has been a while, Preston. This is your first appearance back on the show. Peyton hasn't been here for a while, so not only are you guys on today, but you're co-hosting. How does that feel? Are you like big time?
Reunion.
Yep.
It's a reunion. Well, all right. Well, there's a lot to talk about today, and since Mom's not here, we could talk about Mom.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say?
Hope she feels
Man,
better.
them enchiladas made her feel sick. You know?
I don't think it was that. I think she had gas station breakfast is what she had. She had some kind of sausage biscuit from a gas station that's not Wawa.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, guys. Today, let me get my glasses back on here so I can see what today is. Today is National Swap Ideas Day. All right.
Swap ideas.
Swap ideas. Do you have any idea what that is?
Okay, what am I thinking of?
Personal swap ideas. Hey, what am I thinking of?
It's not National Mind Reading Days. It's Swap Ideas Day. I myself, and both of you have gotten brilliant moments of this, but I love to swap ideas where you sit around in meetings and you actually think about ideas and you exchange ideas, and those ideas make you think of other ideas.
Let me use an example. What's
Okay.
better, cats or dogs?
Okay, that's good. I'm talking about an idea for a solution to a problem.
Oh,
Like
2 plus 2.
back when I used to work with your Uncle Keith, we would talk about this kind of stuff all the time. We would swap ideas, and my idea would maybe make him think of something, and then his idea back to that would make me think of something else. This is a day to celebrate creativity of ideas and problem solving and things like that. So this is the day to do it. So swap ideas and make people think, it doesn't have to be on a one-on-one basis. It could be done, whatever. So let your ideas flow today. Tell everybody what your ideas are for things, and it may spur somebody else to have a better idea about something else. Listen to that commentary. Both of them have so much to say about it. So.
I have a lot to say.
Well, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Preston, what do
Well,
you think of it?
I think about, here, for buildings, a solution.
Okay.
Let's see, instead of using, let's say we were in Roman time. Instead of using stone to build their pillars, they could have used bronze or brass. That would have been a better solution because it wouldn't have fallen.
Okay, but what are we going to do about that now? How is that going to spur an answer now?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, today is also National TV Dinner Day. Now, you guys probably don't even know what that is. Do you know what a TV dinner is?
Yes.
What is it?
You eat at a movies.
No.
So you go to the dinner table. And
Turn your mic up.
You go to the dinner table and you eat with your family and watch TV.
That's a great guess, but that's not what it is.
Wait, can you say the word again?
National TV Dinner Day.
Dinner.
All right,
Ooh.
let me explain it to you. Back in the 50s and the 60s, they invented this thing called a TV dinner because TVs were exploding everywhere. They were just starting to become popular. People wanted to be able to watch TV while they were eating. But at the same time, it was hard to cook everything and get everything on a plate and bring it over. So what they started doing is they were doing pre-packaged dinners in these little black trays, and you would heat them up, peel the plastic off, and then you'd sit down and eat it. That's a TV dinner.
I thought you were talking about like the thing in Back of the Future where they would put the TV right there and they would watch. Wow.
Another great guess. But no, today is the day to celebrate the TV dinner, which has fed families and single men for decades. This is very popular amongst single people. They can just run to the mic. Now we have microwaves. You throw them in, you heat it up in the microwave, and then you can go sit down and eat. All right, so that's National TV Dinner Day. All right, now that's enough of that kind of stuff because you guys you don't care about that. I have some cool news for you.
What's this?
This is right up your alley. Should be right up Peyton's
What's
alley.
cool news
Even though he doesn't really care for Oreos anymore. He used to be an Oreo connoisseur.
I don't really like Oreos that much.
It's really sad that you've outgrown them. But Oreo is launching a new Pokemon Oreo package.
I've heard about that.
Have you?
Yeah. I've heard
Well,
about
it
that.
just got released this month, and so that is going to be pretty cool looking. I'm looking at a picture of the package right here. It's got all the Pokemon on the front of it, and
So it's like the Oreo shape on the thing, their Pokemon?
it's actually the entire packaging is Oreos. Is the Pokemon.
Okay.
The Oreos themselves have not changed.
Now you're making me want Oreos now.
All
Now
right.
let's talk about mint chip.
Wait a minute. Pokemon is dominating the food news today. They have also partnered with Krispy Kreme
Ooh.
to offer a Pokemon collection of donuts, and the pictures of it looks like it's more of the frosting on top with the different
the
Pokemon on
colors
top.
of
So
it.
Pokemon actually dominating the news today. Two big things from them. All right. Okay. Now, Preston, you're a chicken wings guy. You like to eat chicken wings,
I
right?
had them about a week ago.
Yeah. Usually, fairly regularly, Preston will ask for wings.
I had 11.
There is a restaurant in Orlando called Wingstop, and a lot of the bigger cities have a Wingstop. They have added not just having chicken wings or the mini drums, they are now adding chicken thighs.
Sign me up.
Sign me up too. I like chicken thighs. Good stuff.
Sounds good.
Good stuff. All right. Okay, let me ask you this. What is your favorite flavor of cake,
You
guys?
already know the answer.
Well, I'll say it. Don't tell me. Tell the audience. Step up to your microphone and tell them.
Cookies and
Chocolate.
Chocolate. What's your favorite, Preston?
cream. Cookies and cream.
I eat nothing but chocolate.
Cookies and cream.
Would you
is
ever
the
eat
best.
unusual flavored cakes?
You know, I've tried very unusual things
Is it
in
gonna be
my.
like-
You have. You know what? I've actually been surprised. There is a brand new crepe flavored cake.
Grape?
Crepes are like very thin pancakes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd take that any day.
I think I would too. I like them as
That
well.
sounds weird.
All right. Two more things, and we're jumping into the interview today. Got a great guest today. Lana Vasquez is here today, and she's going to be talking about her work in Thailand, Burma, and Brazil. But both of you guys have at one point in your life, and some of you, and Peyton is still kind of this way, into Legos. How many of you out there watching the show today played with Legos growing up? If you did, drop into the
Growing up.
comments below and tell us what was your favorite Lego that you used to play with when you were a kid. There is a new Lego system being announced, and it's going to be the Super Mario 64 ? block.
Yeah, I've heard. I have the original Mario one where you can play with. It's like electronic.
Yeah, and?
And there also is a Luigi one, and they can both, if you put them together, like next to each other,
Yeah.
say, "Hi Mario" and "Hi Luigi."
Well, they've got a special ? block coming out, and if you ever play the game, have you guys either played Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
You know,
I
the
think
little,
it's from
the little
Super Mario Kart.
Yeah.
there's the little question mark. You never
Oh,
know
the
what's
yellow
inside
block.
of it, but it's always a
Yeah.
bonus.
Usually
So
coins.
they're going to have a bonus Super Mario 64. Explore some of its most iconic levels with the Lego Super Mario 64 ? block being released this week. It's pretty cool, right?
Is it just
That is
a
pretty cool.
Is it a little pack of just one little?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. It just says it's the ? block. All right. And then lastly, as we get into our interview today, all three of us, and even Mommy now, right behind you, you can see Mommy's Funko Pop collection of the Friends characters.
Yeah.
Both of the boys and myself, we all have our own collection of Funko Pops. This one we're going to have to get our hands on because it actually sounds pretty cool. There's two big things about Funko Pops this week. The Daredevil exclusive launches with a variant comic, and it's a brand new Daredevil from Funko Pop. And then there's also something called My Hero Academia.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, they've got their own line of Funko Pops coming out too.
Oh, I like that show.
I would
All right.
just like to say about that.
Go ahead.
I have a cousin. His name, I don't know if he wants to be known. He might. Jordan Bailey. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Jordan.
Okay, what about him?
Jordan, we're coming after you.
I think one of his favorite characters is Daredevil, so that
Cool.
might be something cool he'd want to get, you know?
All right. Well, that's what's going on around the country today. Guys, thank you so much for jumping in and being a guest host with me today. I appreciate it so much. Right now, we're going to head over to the interview with our guest, Lana Vasquez. I'm so excited that she's here. So now, let's expand your search.
Bless America.
For over 19 years, my guest today and her team at Life Impact International have been relentlessly working to make a difference in the lives of trafficked, exploited, and at-risk children all over the world, but mainly in Thailand, Myanmar, or Burma, the war zones in between, and now she has actually reached into South America and in Brazil. Their strategy is a very simple one. It's to prevent, rescue, and to heal. They fight to prevent the atrocities of exploitation in all forms, from trafficking, abuse, and abandonment to slavery and prostitution. This team, it's just really hard to wrap your mind around that stuff still goes on in this world that we live in today. But this team goes on to fight and to rescue as many children as possible as they fight to bring healing and restoration to broken hearts, bodies, and minds. She is a native of Southern California. She came out of a desperate life full of addictions and heartache, and she has since helped thousands of young kids to come out of the same or even worse conditions. Please welcome to Expanding Your Search today, Lana Vasquez. Lana, it is so great to finally have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Man, I know that I feel like I've known you for decades because I heard about your work when we were on staff at Rhema. We had a lot of mutual friends, but we actually just met for the first time a couple of years ago at an Increase event, and it was so good to finally shake your hand and just tell you that we've heard so many great things about you, and to have you on the show means a whole lot to us.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor.
First of all, I know that you're in the States right now for, I don't know if it's a vacation or if it's, I know that you had some family things going on. How often do you get to come home?
Before COVID, it was once a year. And this time, though, because of COVID, I got stuck in Thailand during the lockdowns, which was the best place that I could have got stuck because that's our mothership. So I got stuck in Thailand, and it's close to 2 years. So I came to kiss my family and then get back on that plane because I don't know from now on, I don't know if it's going to be another every 2 years. But before that, it was once a year. I would get back for about 6 weeks to a month.
Wow. I mean, my hat's always been off to folks like yourself who can go and be away for a long. I know it's the grace of God that allows that to happen, but it really does mean a lot to the rest of us who are sending folks out to do to see a ministry like this doing what you do. Let's talk a little bit about what you do. I know that you know your own testimony says that you kind of came out of a life of addiction and things like that. Tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll get into the rest of it.
Okay. Just kind of came from a broken home, broken family, broken life, and just found a lot of trouble at a very young age. And I almost died multiple times, had drug overdoses, car accidents, and just basically on a path to destruction, all before the age 19. I never heard the gospel before. I was born and raised in Southern California. Nobody ever invited me to church. I never had one Christian friend. And so I thought I had all the Jesus there was. Nobody ever told me there was another way. Let me introduce you to this Jesus. You don't have to live the life you're living, until I was invited to church the very first time at age 19. And that day I say, in everything that happened, I was rescued to rescue. God rescued me out of the lifestyle. God healed my heart. I was instantly delivered from drugs, instantly delivered from alcohol, instantly healed from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. I had developed epilepsy. I was a go-go dancer in the clubs of Hollywood. And so it would cause me to stay up very late at night, multiple nights, not sleep and dance and party. And because of that, I had seizures and full-blown epilepsy, was diagnosed with it at the hospital. They took away my driver's license, everything. The day I got saved was the day I got completely healed, completely delivered, sozoed, the full package deal. And I say it like this: I made a personal vendetta to God. One, I would tell as many people, young people, about Jesus before the age 19, because nobody ever told me. And two, I would work to prevent exploitation from happening to children, any kind of abuse, anything like that, because I believe that that's the door that the enemy gets in to try to steal your youth and steal your childhood, and that will put you on a path to destruction. And so those are my two personal vendettas to God. And I just say it the way, when I walked out those church doors, I knew I was rescued to rescue. I knew that I was supposed to do something and tell other youth, young people, children, and help other people in the same situation I was in. And so it kind of, my story and how we started doing what we were doing really ties into personally my encounter with God and what happened in that situation, that radical change, that radical salvation, and that radical encounter. I needed him to do that. I didn't know how to get myself out of that at that age. So that's in a nutshell how I knew I was rescued to rescue, and the impact that happened in my life at that time.
All right. So as you come out of this and you're, you went on to Bible school and got yourself prepared, then how do you land in a ministry doing what you do? Because if you couldn't tell by the introduction, folks, Lana is instrumental in helping some of these young folks that have been trafficked or enslaved or prostitution all across. Well, I guess it started in Thailand, and that's where the bulk of the operation is. But how do you land there? I mean, you're from Southern California. It's not like you had contacts in Thailand, or did you?
It's so funny, but I always say it like this. It's a Psalms 37 where it's been like puzzle pieces and steps in the plan of God, but it was piece by piece. So when I got rescued, when I got saved at 19, I knew that's what I was supposed to do with my life at 19. So it was step by step, going to Bible school and then just praying. I'd never been on a missions trip. I never knew all these different words. I didn't even know what ministry was. I remember going to Rhema and everybody saying, my ministry. And I took a walk around that pond with the swans and I said, God, what is this word ministry? And am I called to this? So it was like piece by piece, God was giving me the puzzle pieces and just giving me the little details. And I remember one time I was just praying in between my first and second year of Bible school and just saying, God, what do you have for me? Now, I know you rescued me to rescue, but what does that look like? I don't know what that looks like. What are the details of this? And I heard a missionary from Sao Paulo, Brazil, talk about 300,000 street kids in the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil, and that this police are paid off by the store owners to line them up and to massacre them, and that you could smell the bodies of rotting children in the sewages of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I sat in that pew and I just wept and wept and wept, and I was so broken. And the pastor's wife came over to me and said, Lana, what do you want to do for the Lord? And out of my spirit said, I want to work with exploited children internationally. Wow. And my aunt looked at me and she said, you do? And I said, I guess is what I said. And so once that started happening, I just started taking steps for that, looking into it and finding finding people that did that work, talked to that missionary in Brazil, and I started taking steps to work with children. And around the same time, God gave me the scripture, Psalms 127, verses 3-5. As arrows in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. They will not be ashamed, but they will subdue and conquer the enemy at the gate. And I knew at that moment that God, what this looked like was God was asking me to do children's homes and rescue homes and start safe homes. And so I said, but God, I'm an evangelist. I want to tell as many young people about you. I want to win hundreds, thousands, millions to you. I don't want to babysit 10 children and Jesus come back and we float up like Mary Poppins singing Kumbaya, my Lord. Like, I don't want, I want to reach as many children. I want to rescue as many children. And the Lord spoke to me and he said, you will reach more children. You will reach more through the children than you will yourself personally. He said, in the darkest nations of the world, in the Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu nations of the world, there are generations that don't know me. You will raise up a generation to know me, and that generation will reach their own nation. They will go into their own nation. They will go back into the darkest places, and they will know me, and they will make me known to their own place, to their own nations. And so what started forming in my heart were safe homes, but safe homes where we raise them to know their healer. We raise them to know their rescuer, Jesus, and then to go back into the slums that we rescue them from, the borders, the highways, the byways, and to tell other children, to basically reach this mother that sold them, this father that abused them, once they're strong enough to do that. And that was the vision. And granted, I'd never even been on a mission trip. I think I'd been a Christian for a year and a half, but God started showing me these pictures. So I set out to do that. I thought I was going to start in Sao Paulo, Brazil, got in touch with that missionary, started going there. Graduation time for Rhema came. I was even learning Portuguese songs. I was singing in my car, didn't even know what I was learning, found all the Brazilian friends, thought I was going to work with the street kids in Brazil and start there and then work my way to the Muslim, Buddhist, and Hindu nations. That was my plan. Started doing that, set my face to go do that. And then on graduation day, the Lord said, stay behind in Tulsa one more year. And I cried. I said, no, God, send me back to Skid Row, send me back to the foster care system in LA. Like, why do I have to stay in Tulsa, and just cried. And I said, my friends are saying, they don't want to go where you're sending them, and they don't want to go to Russia and all these places. I'm saying, here am I, send me. And last time I checked, you had a shortage of laborers in the Bible. It says that pray the Lord of the harvest that he'll send laborers. And I'm saying, I'll go, and you're not sending me, God. And I always say it's like this. It's like a slingshot, it looks like you're going backwards, and it looks like it's a setback, but it's actually a setup for God to launch you on your target, so you hit harder and stronger and straighter. And that's what was happening. God was setting me up. I met some missionaries, started serving these missionaries. I was taught really well, and I was taught, if you're not where you want to be, find somebody that is, and serve them and serve their ministry. And wow. I thank God that I was taught that. So I found some missionaries, and God wasn't going to let me to go to the mission field yet. And so I found these missionaries, started serving them. It was like just a supernatural chain of events that happened. And so I knew that I was supposed to help them, started serving them, started cleaning their house. And I was like, every good ministry story starts with a scrubbing toilet, part of it. And so I was scrubbing their toilets, praying for the nations that they were in. They were going to the Philippines and these different things, praying for the children in those nations, and just saying, okay, God, this is where you had me. This is what I'm doing. And just was faithful with what was in my hands, all the while holding what God had told me in my heart. And so faithful with what's in my hands, all of a sudden those missionaries come to me and say, Lana, we've seen the atrocities with children. We plant Bible schools, we plant churches, and we've heard what happens to the children in these nations, in the Philippines, in Thailand, in these different areas. We're going to start rescue homes. We know that's in your heart. We want you to help us start these homes.
Wow.
The first one's going to be in Thailand. Second one's Mexico. Third one is Africa. Fourth one, I can't even remember, but fifth one was Brazil. And so I said, okay, I will commit 2 months to all these nations to help you start. But when I get to Brazil, I'm going to live there. That's the plan. And so they said, okay, whatever you want to do. Go to Thailand for the first time. We got 52 children in a prevention home. And these are children that were at risk. What would happen is the traffickers would go to these poor villages and basically say, I'll put your child in school. I'll give them a good job in the city.
Yeah.
And they would trick these poor villagers, and they wouldn't know any better. So they'd they'd let them take their children. This is before they were selling them. They would let them take their children, and they'd never hear from them again. And they'd end up in a brothel in Bangkok, one of the, it's called the armpit of Southeast Asia. So we heard about this. We knew this was happening. We started a prevention home, started with what was in front of us, with connections and different things. I became mama to 52 kids at 24 years old. One girl that's actually here with me now, she's my daughter. She came up to me at 14 years old and said, I don't have a mom and you don't have a daughter. From this day forth, you're my mom and I'm your daughter.
Wow.
And so they stole my heart. So I was supposed to only be there 2 months. 2 months turned into 6 months. 6 months turned into a year and a half. A year and a half, the missionaries called me and said, can we hand the homes over to you?
Wow.
And so at 25 and a half, at 24, I became mama. And at 25 and a half, I became a founder of an international organization.
Yeah.
Just by saying yes. So it's been a step-by-step, yes by yes process.
If you, and I don't want to put you on the spot here because I know that you got other things going on. But do you have any idea, if you put a ballpark figure, how many kids have you guys rescued out of those kind of things over these years?
Yeah, it's hard because actually rescuing, it would be in the thousands that we've rescued in situations that have been apart, because every child we rescue, we have long-term government recognized safe homes, but every child we rescue doesn't come into our home automatically. If they have HIV, they go to an HIV home. If they're a special needs child, they go to a special needs home. If there's another situation, maybe we help them through the court system and they go into with a family member. So it would be in the thousands, but it's kind of hard to put a number on that, because also we work a lot in prevention. So we go into these families, we go into these communities. There's one area in particular. Well, basically we target where the traffickers and the exploiters target. So there's one community in particular on our border. It's a garbage dump. They actually live in the trash. They live, work, eat in the trash. That's their life. That's where they literally have houses in this trash, in amongst all the rubbish. And in this area, we started working. They would sell their children or have their children go to work for about $2.50 a day. And we would go there and we would work with them, work with the mothers, work with the men, work with the children, do sidewalk Sunday school. And there was about 450, 500 in this one community. We work in multiple communities on our border. We spend probably at least $5,000 a month on prevention alone. So that's not rescue. That's just these community areas that we're talking to the parents, trying to get them to not sell their children. Yeah. Well, in this particular community, we got the whole community to stop selling their children. There hasn't been a sale of a child in 10 years because we are there weekly, turning the hearts of the community from darkness to light and showing them you don't have to sell your child. And so it's also stories of prevention like that, which they say prevention is the best way.
Yes.
So mm-hmm.
That totally makes sense too, that it would be just better just to not even start down that path. But all right, so we've only got like a minute or so, but I know that you're finally doing work in Brazil, and God did fulfill that dream of your heart. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so I say it. Again, how I said it, I was faithful with what was in my hands. God gave me Thailand and he gave me Burma. So we also have works in Burma, and we're on the Thai-Burma border. And so those were the doors that was open to us, and how we started rescuing and different things. So because God gave that to me, I knew about 13 years ago, there came a time for me to work with the government in Thailand. Actually, we're a government recognized safe home. So we work very closely with the chief of police, the social welfare, all of them. It's a 5-person child protection board, and we have 2 seats on the child protection. So we have a voice for exploited children on our border. And about 13 years ago, the government came to me and they knew we were rescuing, and they heard about what we were doing. And so they set up a secret meeting with me, the governor of our area. And he basically said, we know what you're doing. We've been watching you. You're doing a great job, but you're doing it illegally. Will you do what? Because we were literally kidnapping children from the traffickers, from the mamasans, from the owners, the beggars. We would get them, and we would get them from the bad guys. And because everyone was in on it, so we couldn't go to anybody. We had to just get that child, or we'd never see that child again. They'd go underground, and then they'd never let us see them again. So because the government was watching us and they knew what we were doing, at that point we had rescued 60 children in stories like this that were beggars, street kids, sold by their own parents, babies sold for $18. I mean, just this whole thing. And in all of that, when they said, will you do what you are doing for the Thai government? And basically, will you do what we see what you're doing, will you do what you're doing for us? And at that moment, I said yes. And I knew it was going to go deep, and we were going to work very highly with the Thai government. So at this point, I still had Brazil in my heart, and I still, I carried it. I still thought that I was going to go to Brazil one day, even though I've been in Thailand for now 20 years. And so in that, I said yes. And I knew I had to sign, this paper that said, basically, I'm in the government. I'm working as the chairperson of Life Impact. I can't leave to Brazil. So I went to sign that paper, and I just said, God, I guess you just used Brazil to get me to work with exploited children. And so I guess I just put it on the shelf. I just lay it down. I lay my Isaac down on the altar, and I signed my name on that paper to work with the government, to work deep in the system, in the Kingdom of Thailand, to work in this area. And once I did that and just laid my Isaac on the altar, about 2 weeks later, a pastor that I went to Rhema with, a Brazilian pastor that was my very dear friend, they're just like family, they contacted me. I hadn't heard from them in 10 years. And they contacted me and said, Lana, Brazil desperately needs Life Impact, needs what you're doing with the children. Can you please come to Brazil? Wherever you're at in the world, we will fly you to Brazil. And that's a long flight from Thailand to Brazil. That's 36 hours in the plane. And they said, wherever you're at, we will fly you to Brazil. Please, the children of Brazil need Life Impact. The children of Brazil need what you are doing. And so I got that email, and I knew. I got on a plane, went to Brazil. This is crazy. So I had heard, different things with Brazil, but I didn't. And I knew I carried it this whole time. I'm starting to work in prevention, rescue, and healing now with children, all these different things. So we are there, and we're going from town to town in Brazil. And I'm seeing 5-year-olds sell their bodies for a banana for their brother. I'm seeing mothers sell their own daughters. Mothers let their daughters get raped in the same bed. I'm talking to the stories. I'm hearing these stories. My first story that I sat and I heard was they were telling me about, she's 12 now, but she's used to selling her body for rice and beans. And so because she's used to selling her body for rice and beans, that the family now are Christians, they go to church, but they still can't get her to stop selling her body. And she's a 12-year-old. She's been doing it since she was 8. The mafia wants to kill her because she did something, and they had to hide her in a house for 6 months. And she couldn't leave. She couldn't go. And like just all these different things. I'm walking into these 1-bedroom houses. I'm hearing these horrific stories, things that I've worked this long with exploited, trafficked, abused children. I've heard a lot of stories. And in Brazil, it's right in my face. Every town, everywhere I go, this is what they're telling me. And I'm just sitting there weeping, and everybody just has a straight face. And I talked to my interpreter, and I said, are you interpreting correctly that this little girl has been selling her body for rice and beans since she was 8 years old? And why isn't anybody crying? I literally asked my interpreter that, like, why are you guys just sitting here with a straight face? And he looked down and he said, because Lana, he said, it's normal in Brazil. And I said, it's not normal for a little girl to sell her body for basic necessities. Yeah. It is not normal for a little boy to have to sell drugs for rice and beans. It is not normal. This is not normal. It's time for a new normal in Brazil. And I'm telling you, it broke me in a way. And what I found out in the world, Thailand and Brazil are number one in the world for children being used in a sexual manner, sexual acts towards children, and sexual slavery is what we call it. And Thailand and Burma, I used to think that Thailand was number one and Burma was number two. But when we were going and looking around, somebody got the numbers wrong. And they are actually equal, if not Brazil's probably number one for children involved in sexual acts or something happening to a child in the world. But yet nobody knows this. And yet, and then I find out this is why I've carried this country in my heart for so very long. This is couldn't get away from it for 20 years. This country has been in my heart. And when I was there the last time, God said, it's time to take it out of your heart and put it in your hands now. That's awesome. And so we launched Life Impact Brazil. We reached 500 kids weekly. These are children that are in the most dangerous favelas. There's one called City of God, and these kids, the only aspiration is literally to be the drug lord or the gang member. Those are the ones that they see with the most money. That is their only dream. You ask them, what is your dream when you grow up? And they just blank. They have a blank stare. They've never been able to dream before. They don't know. So we bring them out of the favela. We've rented it's like a school drop-in center in the middle of a mall. We're teaching them wood shop. We're teaching it. Of course, we're giving them Jesus, teaching them all kinds of different trades, letting them know you don't have to sell drugs. You have options. We're bringing the girls in. My girl that runs that whole area in Rio, she was like the top in Cake Boss. And so she's famous for cakes, actually. She won Cake Boss. So she's teaching the little girls how to make gourmet cakes, like award-winning different things. They're getting them out of the sex slave trade, little girls and teenage girls, and showing them this is not your highest aspiration to be these drug lord sex slaves. There are other options for you.
That's incredible.
And we've hired teachers. We brought in people. We have a pastor. I have one local pastor. He's so cool. He used to be a drug addict, drug dealer in this City of God. It's the most dangerous favela in Latin America, South America. And there's documentaries written on it. He was a drug dealer, drug addict in this area. They were going to kill him. And then somehow he miraculously got free. A pastor came and vouched for him. And he got radically saved, radically delivered. And now he goes in and works with the kids there. Well, our team was there, and this is how he won our heart. All of a sudden his phone went off, and it was the Mission Impossible theme song. And she looked at him and he goes, this is another youth. When you're caught stealing in the favelas, they'll cut off your hand.
Wow.
Or they cut off your arm, or they'll just kill you. And so he said, this is another youth that was caught stealing from the drug lords. And he said, I have to go and vouch for them. They'll release them to me. And so he goes, I have to go. And he said, my prayer every day is, Lord, just give me one more. Lord, just give me
That's
one
awesome.
more. And it's super cool because that's our when he said that, that's our language.
Yeah.
In Thailand, that's my teams. They pray, Lord, just give us one more child. Lead us to the next child that is either being trafficked or about to be trafficked, about to be sold, being molested, being abused. Lead us to that next child. And so we have him. We have a full team that work with these children in the most dangerous areas. We're in Rio and in the north where the children are targeted in the worst, where they think it's normal, basically, to sell a child, to use a child. And so in these areas, and my girls, my team, they're 26, 28, and they're reaching 500 children a week. And so Life Impact Brazil is in full launch,
I love it.
full effect mode. So
I love it. Folks, this is Lana Vasquez. As you can tell, she has got an impact that is reaching children across the world. We're going to put some information up on the screen right now. If you'd like to support or get involved and help, you can actually do that. Right here is her website, Life Impact INTL, or it's international.org. You can also follow on Facebook, Life Impact INTL. On Instagram, Life Impact International. She also has a YouTube and Vimeo channel, Life Impact International. She is changing the tide out there in some of the worst countries in the world for child trafficking. She's actually making an impact, folks, and it's these kind of guests that we love to bring to you. Lana, thank you so much for your time today and for telling us what's going on and keeping us updated. We want to have you back next time, next time you're back in the country, or maybe when you got something going on over there that we can help promote or push for you. We love getting behind things like this.
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
It's so awesome to see you, and have safe travels back to, I guess you're going back to Thailand or Brazil?
Not sure yet.
Okay. Well, when you do go back, have a safe trip, and we look
you.
forward to seeing you in person again.
Thank you, sir.
All
Bless
right,
you.
have a great day. That's Lana Vasquez of Life Impact International. I'll get it right. And now let's stop for directions. Jesus said in Luke chapter 17, verse number 2, "It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he cast into the sea than that he should offend or hurt one of these little ones." Child and human trafficking is one of the worst crimes against humanity in our time. Jesus told us that there is a time coming that these people will have their judgment for practicing such heinous behavior. But in the meantime, what do? Do we just simply sit back and thank God that this hasn't happened to us, that it hasn't happened in our town, that it hasn't happened to somebody that we know? Well, definitely being thankful is always a right step, but it shouldn't be our only step. There are plenty of things that you can do to be involved. You can bring awareness. You can speak out against. You can support ministries like Lana's. Or you can choose to go on a missions trip yourself where you actually get involved rescuing kids. The children of the world need our help. And even though many of us grew up in a world and in a time where the practice of this was so small and so remote, it's foreign to us. But we can't put our head in the sand and pretend that human trafficking doesn't exist. There's a saying out there today that says you have to be in it to end it. So what can we do? Before the show today, we found out that the Department of Homeland Security has a Human Trafficking 101 PDF for you to download so that you can know the signs to be looking for. If you see a child in danger, say something. If you know somebody, tell someone in charge. I'm so grateful to be exposed to ministries like Lana's who are actively fighting this battle on the front lines. Thank you, Lana, for being just one, but a powerful impact in the fight to save our children. That's going to wrap it up for the show today. I'm so grateful to Lana Vasquez for stopping by to inform us of the great impact that your ministry is having in Burma, Brazil, and Thailand. Thank you to Preston and Peyton for doing an awesome job pinch hitting for your mom today. I'm so proud of you guys. I can't wait to see you guys sitting in this chair one day. Join us next week as we have an incredible guest joining us on Monday to speak about how some of the cities around this nation are effectively using spiritual warfare to combat the out-of-control crimes that they're seeing. And guess what? It's working. You don't want to miss that. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope we helped you expand your search so that you can find what you're looking for. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @expandingyoursearch on Facebook and Instagram and @expandingsearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We're available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for direction.